Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday, and welcome to the first ever recording of the Anti-Casual Podcast. I'm Billy Finn here along with Dalton Bassett,
How's it going?
and today we're going to be talking about some hot topics today in the sporting world. That would be the AFC and NFC Championship games, some possible trade destinations for Kemba Walker, and a little more the Cavs struggles and whatever else we feel will fit into the show. So, to start off the show, we're going to start with the AFC and NFC Championships, as I already said. There are some very big points of interest in this game. Dalton, do you have anything to say right off the bat?
Right off the bat, I'm really looking forward to the Vikings and Eagles matchup more than anything, I feel like, because I think this one really will just come down to the two defenses and how they react to each other's offense, because I really think that that's a strength of both teams, obviously, with Carson Wentz going down. The Vikings have a better offense all around, I feel like, but the defense will really decide this one today.
Yeah, I think they both have really great defenses, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how both quarterbacks are pretty much just backup quarterbacks playing in a big game. It's perfect fit to the end of a really weird NFL year with a lot of star quarterbacks going down, as you stated, Carson Wentz. So in your what do you think are some key points to today's game for both teams? What do you think they got to do to really get the job done today?
I think one of the hardest parts will be getting the run game going. Obviously, both front sevens are elite, top three in the NFL.
For
sure. I feel like if they can do that, then they can exploit the option and passing it later in the game, getting the ball down the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think an underrated story from a lot of the media has been that Sendejo injury. He went down with, I believe, a concussion last weekend. The dude's been very good all season, along with Harrison Smith, who got snubbed from the Pro Bowl after being a first-team All-Pro. So that secondary from the Vikings is no joke, and it's the same thing with the Eagles. It's going to be really interesting to see how dynamic playmakers like Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Diggs, and Thielen can really try to stretch the field today, because they're going to need to help out the quarterbacks in any way they can. With that being said, Dalton, who do you think wins this game?
I think it'll be a very close one. I don't think it'll be high scoring at all. Kind of old-fashioned football, just slugging it out, but I do think the Vikings will come in and they'll take home the win. I just think that their offense will prove to be a little bit better. I favor Case Keenum over Nick Foles this game. Like you said, they both are backup quarterbacks, but Case Keenum has played at a very high level all season. He always seems to find Adam Thielen on one huge play every game. I feel like one huge play could be the thing that sets this game apart. Zach Rudolph, Stephon Diggs, I think they'll both show out, and Latavius Murray will have his way some way or another.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. I definitely think the Vikings are gonna win this game, and I don't necessarily think it's gonna be very close either. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I think it'll be a very close game. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, but you just take all the factors that it's the Vikings playing at home. They got the better quarterback, in my opinion. And then that defense, man, when they were going against the Saints last week, they really showed out that first half. They shut them down, and that's a very, very good offense. So with a very limited Eagles offense, Nick Foles not the greatest quarterback in the world by any stretch of the imagination. This is gonna be really tough for the Eagles. Hopefully they came up with a good game plan and it'll be a good game, but I just don't see the Eagles winning this one. I think the Vikings are gonna take it pretty handily, and that's gonna be interesting because then it's the Vikings in the Super Bowl in Minnesota, so that'd be a really interesting game. So moving on to who we both believe will be playing the Vikings in 2 weeks, the AFC Championship between the Jaguars and the Patriots. Dalton, anything you noticed right off the bat?
Just right off the bat, I do believe the Jags will win the game, but I also do believe that they will have to play a near perfect game going against the Pats at home. Obviously, the coaching matchup favors the Patriots, Bill Belichick over Doug Monroe. But I feel like with what the Jaguars can do on defense, similar to how we spoke on the Vikings and the Eagles, I feel like the Jags are on a whole different level of sheer dominance. And as long as, with Brady's injury to his thumb, he's going to be playing with the glove. I feel like there will be a little trouble there for him with that. And with A.J. Bouye, Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, I feel like they're the one team that has any sort of solution to stop Gronk. And I feel like if they can take away Gronk, they will show out on defense.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that point up. I really think, I don't think there's anyone that can really cover Gronk, to say the least. But I think Miles Jack can try to contain him. I think Miles Jack is a very, very athletic linebacker who can stay with Gronk because he's got the speed to do it. With that being said, you brought up the Brady thumb injury. That's gonna be tough. And then I personally feel a big underrated story in this game is Tom Brady's not the most mobile quarterback in the world by any stretch of the imagination. And then you got two interior linemen who are both very, very solid in Malik Jackson and Marcel Darius. And if they can get back there and cause some havoc, it's going to be a long day at the office for Tom.
Well, yeah, and then you have Calais Campbell coming off the edge.
Exactly.
I mean, the Patriots' defense has been, not defense, offensive line has been pretty solid all year, but this will, without a
It'll be a
doubt,
test.
the biggest test they face. And I feel like having that biggest test come in the AFC Championship game could prove to be a big struggle.
Yeah, I think you got to look back to that Miami game. You saw Ndamukong Suh get back there, and he was causing havoc for Tom. And of course, it's a regular season game, and the Patriots already clinched. But still, you see that if you can get pressure on Tom through the interior, he can't step up in the pocket. There's nowhere to go. If you get on the edge, at least he can step up in the pocket and make a throw, which is what he's best at. He's incredible at it. But with that being said, I think it's gonna be a huge game for Malik Jackson, Marcel Darius. If they can get back there, that's gonna be a huge key to this win.
Yeah.
If the Jags can get it done. However, of course, they are the Patriots, and they're very good at what they do, and they almost always win the AFC Championship. I think it's 7 years in a row.
7 years in a row.
It's incredible. You got to think about all the benefits they have. They have, in my opinion, the best coach in NFL history.
Yeah.
They have a top 3 quarterback all time. Many think he's the greatest of all time. And then I think a point that helps the Patriots is the fact that I think they have a lot of underrated receivers who are really speedy, and I think it's going to really test that man defense that the Jaguars like to use.
Yeah, well, like you said, with the man defense, they've been pretty solid out here, but scheme-wise, they won't face a harder scheme because they'll look at all the film from every game through the playoffs, the Titans before that, but I think that Bill Belichick and company will build a scheme that could be the one thing that also could pick apart this defense, and I think that they do have the talent, obviously, to stop them, but when it comes down to it, the scheme can be so well that they'll exploit everything that they didn't know could be exploited.
Absolutely. I'm going to the other side of the ball for the Jaguars. We haven't touched on it at all.
Yeah.
They got a problem. If the Patriots wanted a quarterback from the AFC, they got him.
Yeah.
They got the guy they wanted. Blake Bortles, very, very hot and cold. When he's hot, he looks like one of the best in the league. When he's cold, he's really cold. So my whole thing is, I think the Patriots are pretty subpar against the run. Leonard Fournette's a stud.
The box will be stacked all game.
Oh yeah, they're gonna force Blake Bortles to the ball.
Yeah.
So it's of course gonna be on Bortles, but you gotta look at guys like Marquise Lee, Keenan Cole, Mercedes Lewis, and all those boys. D.D. Westbrook to say the least. And they got stretch the field.
Yeah.
They gotta be if Blake Bortles can get a play action going like he did last week against Steelers, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I really do think that.
Yeah.
But they have to stretch the field and they gotta get open.
Yeah, like I said, them Jaguars having to play a near perfect game. I think it will come down to how Blake Bortles play because, as I said, the Patriots will obviously be filling up the box all game because Fournette is a beast. He's a tank on that offense, and when he gets going, they're almost always going to win. So they'll have a scheme for that, same way they would for the Jags defense. So it'll really just come down to what can Blake do when the pressure's on him in his biggest show yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. One more last thing that I wanted to bring up is, and this is of course to benefit the Patriots, they lead the league in third down stop percentage, which I think is a very, very important defensive stat. You want to get them off the field, you want to get Tom on the field.
Yeah.
So if they can keep that up today, it's going to be a long day at the office for the Jags. However, I agree with Dalton. I really do think the Jags are going to win this game. I think that they got everything they need to beat them, and I think an underrated story in this whole game is Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin figures it out against Bill Belichick. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what it's usually his defenses. Tom Coughlin usually beats Bill in these big games. Got any word on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it twice in the Super Bowl. Tom Coughlin, former Giants head coach, 2-0 against the Patriots. He just has some spell, I feel like, that comes over this team. We saw it the first time, the undefeated season happened. Second time, I was like, oh, shit, he really has their number now. And then now we're going to see it in the AFC Championship game where this would be, without a doubt, his most impressive win.
Oh, yeah.
The pedigree of the Patriots, and kind of where the Jags were last season. Because, I mean, people forget that they were last in their division.
Yep, 3-13.
What was it, 4th overall pick for Fournette?
Yep.
4th overall pick, and now they're in the AFC Championship game. So it's obviously not all credit to him, but he's a football genius. He helped get this team here, and I feel like that he's going to get him to the next step.
Very underrated coach, to say the least. Very underrated. Yeah. He's not the coach anymore, but he is, I think, VP of football operations, something like that. Very high up.
His
very
mind
high
is
up.
very powerful in that organization now.
So from that, we're going to transition into to the NBA. And swirling around the NBA community, Kemba Walker has been put up for trades.
Shockingly put up for trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's on a very good deal, 12 million a year for an all-star level player.
Fourth, I think he's only the fourth highest paid player on the roster right now, actually.
And this is a weird situation because it's not like the Hornets want to give up to Kemba by any stretch of the imagination, but it's almost like they have to because being
that team's not going anywhere.
They're I think they're believe 19-25 right now as of this recording, and they have a lot of really, really bad contracts. You got Batum on $99 million for 4 years. You got Dwight for 2 years.
That was a huge signing because of the name, but I mean, he's really not going to take your team anywhere. I don't think anymore.
And then you got Marvin Williams, who is a good player for this generation of stretch forward, who can play a little defense, stretch court for you, but at the same time on a really bad contract. So my whole thing with this is that I think they're a small market, and when you got a guy like Batum who wants to go there, you got to sign him.
Yeah.
But they overpaid.
Yeah.
You can't give a guy like Nicholas Batum $25 million. But that's the challenge that they have. So with that being said, they're gonna have to end up trading. They're gonna have to end up trading Kemba Walker.
Kemba's also stated that he doesn't want to be traded. He wants to stay with Charlotte, but I mean, at this point, I think the relationship could be broken. Even with his request, they still plan on trading him. They're still searching the market. They have to get rid of him.
For sure. And the thing with Kemba too is Kemba, like you say, he doesn't want to be traded, but Kemba has to be traded because you can't get rid of these contracts without him.
Yeah.
He's the only player on that team that's on a good contract. You have to package Kemba, and it's sad, but he's got to be the main guy. So we've come up with some possible trade destinations. First off, do you want to talk about Denver?
Yeah, the Denver Nuggets. I think this summer, when Kyrie first requested his trade, the first team that came to my mind was the Denver Nuggets. Very solid team offensively, pretty solid on defense, and I just feel like they needed a true point guard, someone to lead their team that could really help take them to the next level. Kyrie obviously went to Boston, but now that Kemba's available, I would love to see him go there and just lead that team.
Yeah, for sure. I know when Eric Bledsoe became available from the Suns, everyone was saying Denver was the spot without a doubt.
I feel like any point guard that comes free, Denver is automatically first place.
And you got to think about it because if you give him an elite point guard, you're going to have set elite point guard with Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Millsap when he gets back, and
that could be a very scary team.
Yeah, that could be a team that can get to the second round or third round in the West. So, yeah, they're definitely a team that you would definitely want to talk about. So, with that being said, I came up with the idea that maybe you trade Kemba and maybe Marvin Williams and his contract for Trey Lyles and a first.
Yeah.
Because you gotta get a first out of this.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and you gotta give it to a team who has the cap space to get him. You can't give him to a team like the Cavs. That's just out of pocket. You can't do anything like that. So so what do you think about Trey Lyles and a pick?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Trey Lyles and a pick would be fair because I think a lot of people, they see Kemba Walker, but they don't know the complexity of the salary cap of the
Absolutely.
So a player with the highest contract is going to have to be included in the deal. Right. So it's kind of like you get Kemba, but you also have to inherit this overpaid player who could be a decent player, but you don't want to be $25 million for it. So yeah, I feel like Trey Lyles in a first round pick could be fair. It could be a player that can immediately play for him. A pick that will likely, a first round pick. It probably won't be a lottery pick, but just getting that pick back in return.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think with Trey Lyles too. I think Trey Lyles is perfect for the modern NBA. He's a big man, stretch the floor. He's on a pretty good contract. And yeah, they already have a couple of good small forwards in Wilson Chandler and Jamal Murray can play 3 at times. So I really do think that, and Will Barton, of course. So I really think this could be a definite possible trade destination. Another one we talked about was the Knicks. Of course, the Knicks have took Frank Ntilikina in this year's draft in the first round. He's from France. Kid's a very good defender already.
Amazing defender.
Very good defender, but his offensive game still needs a lot of work. And right now he's behind Jarrett Jack in the starting 5. So, with Frank Ntilikina, the problem is with Frank is that do you groom your first rounder this year, or do you bring in Kemba, who's 28, who's in his prime, and do you ride it out? What do you think?
Yeah, I would love to see Kemba there because I feel like all year, I know at the beginning of the year the Knicks looked really solid because Kristaps was playing at out of his mind basketball, but you kind of notice that throughout the year he's 7 foot tall. The durability of him is obviously going to be a problem night in and night out, and he will need elite offensive help if that team wants to be good. So I feel like bringing in Kemba could also bring a vet leader who could help Frank in any sense on offense or just the way around the league, and to have him combat with Kristaps could be really solid for that organization.
I completely agree. And then on top of that, you think about the pick and roll situation with Porzingis and Kemba.
Yeah.
That'd be very deadly.
It would be deadly. I would love to see that.
Pick and roll, pick and pop, all that. So yeah, and then also with Kemba, I know the Knicks have had some spacing problems because you got Lance Thomas as starting 5, and of course you got a little 3-point shot, but nothing too scary. If you bring in Kemba instead of Frank, then you got Porzingis, Courtney Lee, and Kemba all on the same court at the same time, so that's gonna be spacing for days. That definitely helps you out. Of course, Kemba's not the best defender, but you worry about that later. However, I just don't see this happening, and if it was to happen, I think the guy who'd have to go is Willie Hernan-Gomez. He's on a pretty good contract.
Yeah.
Again, you want the pick, but I'm assuming that pick would be protected.
Yeah.
Top 5, probably top 10. Because I don't think they're giving up anything worse than that. Because Kemba's a great player, but he ain't a superstar by any stretch of the imagination. So, with that, we're gonna transition into Indiana, who's a very interesting team in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think Indiana would be very interesting as well. We've obviously seen Victor Oladipo finally take that next step and become a truly elite talent, and having Kemba there to play with him, I feel like could really make that team a viable contender in the playoffs to go a little deep.
Yeah, I totally agree. The thing I like here is when you got Victor Oladipo and Kemba, again, you got the spacing. However, I don't know what they can give up to get him, because in terms of young talent, they don't have much, and I guess like the most young talent they have is Sabonis or TJ Leaf, and I don't think you trade Sabonis. I think that kid's good. And TJ Leaf, in my opinion, I don't think he's very good. I don't think he has much potential. I didn't like him at UCLA. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he stretches the court for you, and I don't think he's a good defender. So I don't really know what he brings.
Yeah, I think this is our main one that would be nice to see, but kind of the furthest away from happening.
Also, with that, you see Victor Oladipo, and I love Victor Oladipo, but he's a very ball-centric player.
Yeah.
And if you bring in Kemba, who's also a pretty ball-centric, he can play off ball, but he also likes the ball in his hands. I don't know how it's going to go. That'd be up to Nate McMillan's discretion.
Yeah, I feel like with how Victor Oladipo has been progressing, bringing in someone who would obviously be good talent around him would, without a doubt, regress what he's already been doing. And I feel like with what they're doing, just keep letting Vic, grow as a player would be the smartest thing for them at this point.
Right. With that being said, who do you think they could bring in to help him? Because I don't think anyone's beating the Warriors in the next couple of years. But after that, Vic's still young, very young player. Who would you think is an ideal fit to play with Vic, like to play alongside him and get him some help? Because that team's not going to win a championship with just him.
I don't know. I feel like you'd really just have to wait until. I don't know if they'll be looking to bring in someone.
So you're saying let Vic, Sabonis, and Miles Turner develop?
Yeah, let this season go. I mean, because when the Paul George trade happened, everybody looked at that as one of the shittiest trades of this decade. Yeah. But it's really proven to be the
Pacers robbed him.
The Pacers, yeah. I mean, they did rob him. I mean, Paul George is in trade talks right now with OKC. OKC it looks to be almost like a full-time disaster. Yeah. Like there's nights that they play good, such as last night, scoring 148 on the Cavs. But I mean, more often than not, they're getting beat by bad teams. They're playing bad against good teams. So, I mean, I really do feel like the Pacers have won that trade. So, yeah, I would just let them continue out this season, see what they do, and then when free agency comes around this summer, see what pieces you could put together to make your team a real team again.
Yeah, I agree with that. So with that being said, I think we covered it. Maybe TJ Leaf in a pick, but that's probably not going to happen. A very interesting trade that we definitely heard on the NBA community is the Spurs. The Spurs, it seems like the retirement home of the NBA, but there's something about Pop and the water in San Antonio. It's like the Fountain of Youth. Yeah. That team finds a way to do it without. They've had Kawhi for maybe 5 games this year. Yeah. And they're still third in the West. It's incredible. Incredible to say the least. So, Dalton, is there any way you think Kemba can get to the Spurs and help them run for a title this year?
I don't know the exact logistics of how he could get there, but I mean, when Pop would find a way. But when similar to the Nuggets, I thought about the Spurs right off the bat. As you said, Kawhi has been gone all year, but somehow with LaMarcus Aldridge, this team is night in and night out playing at a high level with players that really nobody's ever heard of. You know what I mean? So if you could bring in Kemba kind of to cushion it until Kawhi gets back, fit his way in with LaMarcus, because we're also going to have to see how LaMarcus will be able to play with another star or
Yeah.
somewhere close to a star.
And I'm glad you bring up LaMarcus too, because I think, like we said with Porzingis, of course LaMarcus isn't as good as Porzingis, but that pick and pop game would be really nice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And so with the Spurs, a couple names that come to mind would be maybe Bryn Forbes. The problem with the Spurs is that they're so low market and just so low key that you forget that a lot of these players are underrated.
Yeah.
Like there's no one on the Spurs. I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast and they were wondering why the Spurs are so good. And I think he summed up pretty well. They just don't have anyone that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see these teams, they have players that are just like, why are they in the NBA? There's no one on the Spurs that like cannot play meaningful minutes.
Well, yeah, and also with Pop, I mean, if a guy can go in there for 6 minutes and Pop will make him do everything that he can do good, he'll make that happen.
For
with
sure.
Every single player. And through the whole rotation, 1 through 15, he'll put that player in and he'll be successful in whatever Pop is running or scheming up at that time.
Absolutely. So some possible guys you could probably trade for. Of course, you have to give up pick, and it'll be unprotected, but it doesn't mean that. I shouldn't say it doesn't mean much, but it's almost second rounder.
Yeah.
Because the Spurs are assuming it's to be like 26, 27 in the draft. So maybe a guy like Bryn Forbes, maybe Kyle Anderson. They don't want. I heard they don't want to give DeJounte Murray, but that might be a viable option. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Forbes would definitely be good. Definitely the pick that you need because, I mean, by getting rid of Kemba, you're kind of throwing away your whole team. And I think that they could kind of shift into letting Malik Monk do more on his own. We haven't really talked about Malik Monk.
Yeah, I think we should get into that. How do you personally? I said it coming in the draft. I don't see the Malik Monk hype. I think he's a very good shooter, but I think he when he not primes out, but I think over his career he'll be very Jody Meeks like in his prime. Remember him on the Lakers?
Yeah.
Like something like that. I'm not calling him a bust. I don't think it's a bust career, but I don't think he's going to be a superstar by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see very many All-Stars if he even gets one. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty fair him coming in the league not to see that, but I also feel like there was a lot of good reason for hype, and with Kemba there and how that team's been playing, Malik Monk really hasn't had any true opportunity to show what he could do.
For sure.
So I would definitely, when Kemba is traded and whoever they bring in, I would definitely like to see what he's capable of if he's the main guy or having the ball in his hands a lot and trying to make offense because that's kind of what he's there for. He's an explosive player, shoots well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see what happens after this trade, whatever trade happens, what the Hornets decide to do, because I really want to see Frank Kaminsky. I think they've been locked. They let him play.
Yeah.
I think he's perfect for the modern NBA. Stretch forward, can shoot. I think they got a lot of that on their team. But I think the kid can play. When he gets minutes, he can play. And then, like you said, we got to see Malik Monk play. I think it's a little unfair of myself to call him a bust. Actually, I don't call him a bust, but to say that he's not good yet. But he hasn't shown any signs. So, yeah, I think you got to let him play and just see what you got.
My question is, what happens to Dwight Howard once Kemba's gone?
Well,
what do they do with him?
Well, Dwight's on a 2-year deal, so they can't do nothing. Or they can't do anything, but unless they trade him.
Yeah.
And let's not lie, Dwight's having a good year.
Yeah.
I think he's got 14 and 12 this year. And he's doing everything you need. The thing with Dwight, though, is that he kind of stagnates the offense.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't bring any sort of value in the offensively besides offensive rebounding and you know a little tiny bit of a hook shot. So the thing with Dwight is that
I think let him play out the next 2 years.
I think you have to, unless you're a team maybe like the Cavs who they want to trade Thompson. I think it's fair to say Dwight's a much better Tristan Thompson.
Yeah. I would much rather have Dwight Howard than
for sure. And they're both on bad deals. So if there's somebody who can swap that, and then obviously Dwight's a better player, so maybe you can get rid of another bad contract. But again, the Cavs don't have much wiggle room.
Yeah.
So I don't really know I don't think there's going to be many teams that, unless they're contending, want Dwight, and I don't think they want that contract either. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Moving on. Speaking of the Cavs, as of late, the Cavs have been, let's just say, a dumpster fire.
It's been awful to watch.
Just disgusting.
Well, it's been kind of satisfactory to watch, but it's also awful to watch as someone who likes good basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But as someone who dislikes the Cavs, it's kind of good to watch them burn up.
What do you think is the main culprit for this?
The main culprit? I don't know if there's really I don't believe there is a true main culprit, but I feel like this team is like the island of misfits of just players that have happened to come together on a team you hear a name. I feel like it's like if you're a little kid getting 2K for the first time and you see Dwayne Wade, who's 30, on the market, and you're like, oh, that's Dwayne Wade. Come to my team. Or if you see Tristan Thompson have one good year, oh, let's sign him. Or J.R. Smith, oh, let's sign him. And the team is, like I said, just a bunch of misfits playing together, and they thought it could work out, and it's really not looking like that's going to happen.
I agree with that, and I wanna talk about Isaiah Thomas a little bit in that trade. Excuse me. So, of course, Isaiah Thomas, we all know, was flipped for Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was flipped for Kyrie and Jay Crowder and that Brooklyn pick. So here's the thing, and Zizic, but that doesn't mean that much. So here's the thing, Kyrie Irving is better than Isaiah Thomas. It's not. It's not really close.
No.
But I think everyone knew that. But here's the thing with Kyrie that makes him so valuable. Kyrie can play off ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's very willing to catch and shoot. And LeBron's a player, and LeBron's the best player in the world. He's got to have the ball in his hands, and Kyrie was fine with that. Isaiah wants the ball in his hands, and I think that stagnates the offense a little bit.
I mean, if he doesn't have the ball in his hands,
he's useless.
What can he do? And I feel like everybody, Isaiah Thomas was obviously hurt at the beginning of the year, and they were like, oh, once Isaiah Thomas's offense comes, we're going to be okay. Well, I really think since his offense hasn't been there, and then he comes in as arguably the biggest defensive liability in the entire league, that he really has hurt the Cavs more than helping them. Because since he's came back, that's when the defense, I mean, they've been obviously not well all year, but they torpedoed these last few weeks. It's embarrassing to watch. I could go out there and play point guard and put up better defense than that.
I mean, you look at that Thunder game yesterday, and we've already talked about the Thunder and how they've been a little bit of a mess this year. And to get 148 dropped on you,
that's insane.
That's
an
like,
all-star game.
That's horrible. Like, I don't think much of the blame goes on LeBron here, except for the fact that the thing you can't blame LeBron for is he stepped in. Yeah. He got JR and Tristan those deals.
He got his boys the deals.
And they have not been playing well.
No.
And now it's really hard for the Cavs to move them because there's nowhere to move them. No team can take on those contracts.
The contract. I mean, even if the player was halfway something that you'd want, someone you could put on there on the court night in, night out, I think you could maybe swallow the contracts. But they've been, I mean, in no way helpful to that team.
I think JR's making 11, and I think Tristan's making 16 mil a year. It's like, what do you do? I mean, there's nothing you really can do besides, like, I know we talked about this, but if you're really worried this much, maybe you do have to blow up and trade Kevin Love on the pick.
Yeah, that's been one of my big ideas coming, that they almost are to the point where I feel like, I mean, we're obviously every year we over-exaggerate, but I feel
this is the worst.
This is the worst we've seen the Cavs or LeBron James team at this point in the season, and it's really looking like to where, I mean, you might just need to blow it up, because especially if LeBron's not going to be there, besides that pick, they have no backbone going forward. Because IT's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, and he's going to want the max.
Yeah, he's going to want the max no matter what he does this year, and I don't think he'll find that with the Cavs.
There's no way. I don't think you could pay him the max, just because if you pay IT the max, of course you have his bird rights and you have everything, and he's not restricted, but you see what I'm saying? They can pay him the most. But if you do pay IT that money, which I don't think is going to happen, but if you do, it really, really hurts you, because you have no room to move. You can't do anything, because now you have him on a bad contract. You have Tristan on a bad contract. You have JR on a bad contract. You got Crowder on a bad contract. Where do you go? You can't move any of them. No one's going to want to take them. And the thing with IT though, I love IT. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, I love IT too. I mean, Celtics fan last year. He literally brought back what Celtics basketball is supposed to feel like. Yeah. So like seeing him go over there, I mean, it sucked to see. I love Kyrie. Obviously, Kyrie's an amazing player, but seeing IT go there, I was kind of rooting for him. But watching him play now, I mean, obviously he's been back for a short amount of time, but when you watch him play, he doesn't even really have a shot. Like the last few games I watched of him, he puts up more bricks than I think I've ever seen him do. And when he was playing for Boston.
Yeah, and after the season, I just don't know who's going to pay him that max.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's worth a max contract, just because defensively he is such a liability, and if he's not scoring, what is he doing? He's not a good passer.
He's just running around.
Right. Is there any team that you could see that would pay him that money?
I don't know.
And I know we want to take the Nuggets because they need a point guard, but even with the Nuggets, I like what they got going on over there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to risk.
And I mean, IT, he's old too. He's 28 or 29. He's going to want a 4-year, 5-year max deal. And I feel like what could really end up happening too is that he's going to realize that, oh shit, after this year, I'm going to need that money. I remember when he was playing for the Celtics, he was talking about the Brinks truck every day about that max contract, and then we shipped him off. But I feel like he could really just start trying to take over games and have the ball. I mean, you've already seen how frustrated LeBron gets night in and night out. He's like throwing temper tantrums on the sideline, yelling at refs. And I feel like if IT starts being a little selfish for his career going forward, that this team could become even worse than the team we're already watching play.
Yeah, one more point with IT, and then we're going to move on to one more thing I want to talk about. Thing with IT, too, is, like you said, he's getting older, he's getting up there in years, and I think IT is going to be a player who does not age gracefully.
Yeah.
I think his explosiveness is what makes him great. And if you don't have that, you got a 5'9" ball handler out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he brings for you. Nothing.
That's the sad part because, I mean, he was real. I feel like he really was kind of like important to the league last year, like the whole league. I mean, obviously with the sister passing away, him coming in the playoffs, the 50-point game against the Wizards, like he was one of the most exciting players in the league. But it seems like his career is already kind of going down the slope.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say it not going down the slope because obviously he's been back for a short amount of time, but if he doesn't figure this stuff out soon, I don't know what will be his future and what team will want to sign him to the max. And you could see him taking a bad. I could see him going to teams just taking 1-year deals. Just hopping around the league, whoever wants him.
It's just sad because you want to root for this guy. You know, he's the last pick in the draft. You know, wins Sacramento, battles out in Sacramento, gets traded to Phoenix, battles out in Phoenix, then goes to Boston, becomes a star.
Builds his way up from sixth man to all-star to second-team All-NBA and gets traded that offseason.
Yeah, root
so, like,
for
like you said, there's no reason not to root for him.
And then you mentioned his sister passing. That was just absolute tragedy. In the playoffs, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like,
playing that and then coming back and playing
that's just straight up hard. So one more thing I want to get to today. I love this discussion because I feel like we talk about it. Talk about last offseason. You know, as we talked about with the Cavs, they've had their struggles this year for sure, and it doesn't seem like next year it's gonna get any better. The Warriors get another year, in their absolute prime, all around 28, 29. So, where do you, after the season, where do you think LeBron goes? If you had to predict right now, I think I know what I'm gonna say.
Let me hear what you have to say first.
All right.
This is like where you believe he will be playing basketball next year. This is the uniform he's gonna be wearing.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's two teams, and I think this is all there is. I think there's two teams, and I think everything else is a joke. He will not be back in Cleveland next year. He won't. He will be in Los Angeles playing with the Lakers, or he'll be in Houston. One of the two. When you look at it on paper, of course, Houston is 17-0 when Paul, Harden, and Capella all play. Incredible, right?
And that's very fun basketball to watch.
Oh, it's great. It's so fun. Mike D'Antoni's an awesome coach to watch play basketball. He just... offensive guru. Sucks defense, offensive guru.
When you're putting up offense, I mean, they're setting historical numbers with threes shot per game. So, I mean, when you're putting up offense like that, you can suffer on the defensive side a little bit more.
So, here's the thing with the Rockets, though. Obviously, Harden and Paul are both obviously. And Paul's going into a new deal. So, he's a max contract player. And then you got Harden, who's already on the max. Then if you sign LeBron, you're going to have three players on the max and Capella and Eric Gordon. The salary is going to be hard to make that work. I think you can do it because I think Daryl Morey's a great GM. And he's incredibly aggressive. And I think if LeBron wants to go there, you make it happen in whatever way you can.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be like you lose a ton of depth. Because you're going to have
and
to...
And that's kind of one of their biggest strengths. Is
right.
That
bench is great.
I mean, Eric Gordon comes in, he would start for 15 teams in the NBA.
You got Eric Gordon, you got Luka Mbamute, you got PJ Tucker. You got all these...
Luka Mbamute proven to be a pretty
good player, yeah. Pretty good bench player. So you got that. And then with the Lakers, I really think the Lakers are a viable option for him. Just because we've heard Paul George last year once said, I'm going to the Lakers no matter what. Like that's my city. I love LA. I want to play with the Lakers. I want to be wearing purple and gold. So
even with this season too, he doesn't want to guarantee. He hasn't guaranteed once that he's coming back to OKC. All he wants to say is, we'll look how. I mean, we'll see how it works out, but it's kind of pretty apparent that it's not gonna work.
So here's my thing with the Lakers. Obviously, right now the Lakers don't have the most talent in the world. I think by the deadline they're gonna have to trade Clarkson and Randall and try to get some picks and try to get a veteran star to say the least. Maybe Marcus Saul, something like that. Someone who needs to get out of small.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Thing with LeBron going to LA is I think LeBron's at the point of his career, and of course we all want to play LeBron whisperer get in his head. But I think LeBron's at the point in his career where I think he really wants to start looking into like acting and after post basketball life, and I think LA is a perfect market for that. Because if you win a title in Titletown in LA, I mean you're a legend and you can do whatever you want. I mean LeBron's already a legend, top 3 player all time.
Yeah, obviously. I don't think he's at. I mean, this idea kind of started up as a joke. I feel like in the summer, but people really believe that.
I think it's a very viable option.
I don't think it's a viable option for the reasons you stated. For other reasons, for winning championships and such, but I don't think he would go there simply for post-career moves. I mean, obviously we've seen he is becoming this mogul everybody wants to talk about, but I feel like as long as he can play at this level in the NBA, he's going to be playing at that level in the NBA to win championships and nothing less.
I think with LA though, you gotta also realize, dude, like going from Cleveland to LA, different life. I mean, of course, basketball's gotta be your number one priority, but there's always also peace of mind, financial security. They're gonna pay him a ton of money, without a doubt, most highest paid player of all time. Yeah, like in that contract. So you don't even think like even with like, and not to mention his son, he loves his sons, obviously, great dad. Wants to see him play a bunch of AAU in California, which is a great AAU program. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you make a lot of good points, and like when you hear it, it all makes sense. But there's just a part of me that doesn't believe that he will end up in LA. And if he does, I'd be wrong. It'd be fun, obviously, to watch him play for the Lake Show with Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, because I do like. I mean, some nights they look really bad, but some nights when all three of them, including Kyle Kuzma, are going, that's a really fun team to watch. So if you could bring LeBron in there. He doesn't really hinder what those players are doing. I mean, he would in some way, but if they could all play together smooth, it would be a fun team to watch, yeah.
So, what's your prediction for next year?
My prediction for next year for LeBron James, I think he's going to stay in Cleveland.
Wow.
I do. I don't.
Bro, we just went on a 10-minute ramble about how messy the Cavs are right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. The same way there's a part of me that doesn't see him going to the Lakers. There's a part of me that just sees him staying in Cleveland.
Are you one of those people who believed in LeBron loyalty crap as the reason he came into Cleveland? Tell me. Okay. That's just stupid. He came to Cleveland because he knew exactly what's going to happen. He knew Kyrie was a star. Bro, he knew he could get Kevin Love with the Wiggins pick because Wiggins was literally. Oh, by the way, we may weaken the Wiggins a little bit at the very end of the show.
All right. To be honest, I don't know. I mean,
bro,
I don't know where he's going. I don't know where he's going. I don't think anybody knows where he's going. And I think the speculation could be made. You can make some sort of case for every damn team in the NBA with how much they talk about LeBron James and where he's going. But at the end of the day, I don't even think he knows where he's going. I mean, he's obviously thought about some teams. He's obviously thought about some destinations. But when it comes down to it, LeBron James is just playing basketball right now. Okay. And he loves the attention. He's gonna feed into all that and feed everybody.
Yeah, but he's getting attention.
Drop little things. Bro. What?
And where he goes, getting attention.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying that, but like during the season, how everybody talks about where he could go.
Okay, yeah.
That he's just gonna let you feed into all that hype about everywhere he could possibly land up. Okay. And it's working. It works on everybody.
All right, so I'm saying if I had to put a stamp on it right now, I'm saying Houston or LA. I'd probably lean toward Houston. And you're saying you got no idea, which is fine. So there's one more thing, and this is going to be the last segment. It's kind of like our weird segment of the week. It's not going to be a thing, but I just want to talk about it because it came up. Could be a thing. We don't know yet. First show, kind of a rough draft. I was talking with a couple of friends about Andrew Wiggins. This is his 4th year in the league. He is looks like he's regressing from last year. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I feel like it looks like he's regressing, but I feel like that's also just because of Jimmy Butler. Yeah. I don't feel like it's hurting him, but I feel like since Jimmy's playing at such a high level, and then Karl Anthony Towns, that Andrew Wiggins is kind of the odd man out when it comes to those three. You know what I mean?
I want to be a Wiggins guy.
Oh, I
would love to be. Thing with Wiggins that just gets under my skin is like this dude's an athletic freak, and he is literally one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Yeah. Dude. Well, that's just all effort. Yeah. That's literally. Yeah. Like, come on, bro. You're better than that.
Yeah, and I feel like coming into the league, people were really high up on what his
defensive potential
could be. Same with Karl Anthony Towns. His have obviously somewhat increased.
But, Cat's still terrible, too.
No, that's what I'm saying. But you can see that sometimes he's trying to guard you. Yeah. But, yeah, with Andrew Wiggins, he could start all Cleveland defense. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. That's how bad his defense has been. And it really, I mean, with a lot of players, it's just effort. But he really has, I feel like in his head, he is this offensive guy now. And that defense doesn't mean anything to him. Yeah. So, and I feel like Jimmy, as the leader that he is, I mean, I feel like he could notice that stuff and not want to incorporate him as
Yeah,
much. Not in a shady way, but just in a smart basketball way.
I think now we're in this 4th year, and of course there's late bloomers. You got Kyle Lowry, you got guys like that. That of course, yeah. I think though with Wiggins is that I think Jimmy Butler coming is really helpful for him because he's gonna learn a lot. He's gonna learn a lot about effort. He's gonna learn a lot about dribble penetration, all that kind of stuff that Jimmy's elite at. And hopefully that can get him going in his career because so far he's kind of been underwhelming. Actually, he's been very underwhelming for the hype that he had, and he sure as hell didn't live up to that first that Kevin Love trade for the value that he's supposed to give. So we'd love to see him get better.
Yeah, I definitely want to see him get better.
Because it would be really cool to see an all-star Andrew Wiggins, an all-star Cat, and an all-star Jimmy Butler, and some solid players like Jeff Teague and Taj Gibson try to
That
take
could be a good
awards.
team, but I also feel like that team kind of has been suffering just because of the minutes they play. Yeah. Like if you look at their roster, the minutes, I mean, they're all top 30. The starting 5 are all in top 30.
Well, if you sign Tom Thibodeau as your coach, I'm a Bulls fan.
No, I know. That's what I know.
You're gonna get run.
Yeah, and they're getting ran every night, and I feel like that until they can figure something like that out, that you won't be able to see that team at their highest potential.
Okay, so that's gonna probably do it for today's show. Thank you all for listening to our first show. We hope this is gonna be a great success. And any last words?
Thank you for listening.
All right, so with that, we're gonna call it a day and get to watching these games. And we wish you all blessed Sunday.
Bless up.